everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we take a look at every theatrically released animated film ever released. Today we're looking at the last, I think, of the 1941 movies. Mr. Bug Goes to Town, or otherwise known as Hoppity Goes to Town, or otherwise known as Bugville. I think for the sake of this review, we'll refer to it as Hoppity Goes to Town.
I was gonna say Bugville.
Rip. Well...
Because that's the title it actually showed when the movie started.
Did it? Bugville?
Yes.
Okay.
It said Bugville. Mr. Hoppity Goes to Town. I think.
Oh god.
I wasn't paying that much attention. The DVD title screen said Bugville.
Bugville makes the most sense because Mr. Bug Goes to Town
doesn't work.
Hoppity Goes to Town
doesn't work.
Make sense.
Because he came back from town.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm going to tell you the plot of this movie. Tell me if you've heard this one before. There's a country town, and some young this beloved teen boy character has gone off to see the world and has just come back to find that his hometown is in poor states, and they need to get out of there because there's bad things coming in and they need to get out of there, otherwise they're all gonna die, or bad things, they're all poor and shit. But there's this evil rich Monopoly man that's like, I will help you all out if you let me marry your sexy daughter. But no, the sexy daughter and the gangly youth asshole character are in love, so we can't have that. So they have to go find a new place, and then there's conflict, and eventually all the good people go live in a great new place, and it's all swell. There, you got the plot.
Yep.
I swear you've heard this one before.
Yeah. Although, usually not in animated films, so...
Yeah, generally not animated films.
But, like, I've definitely seen this plot before.
Yeah, and it's not a good plot. It's quite a bad plot. I don't like it. It's dumb. It's stupid. I hate Hoppity, who is the gangly youth. Golly gee willikers, golly gosh geez, goodness gracious.
Golly, mister. I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna make a compilation video of all his golly goshisms and put them together in a video for you guys. So, here's a link. Enjoy.
Gee whiz.
But seriously, it's a plot you've heard 500 times. The only difference this time is they're all bugs. Sort of.
Sort of.
They're human bugs.
They kind of have the Jiminy Cricket thing, where they are human, they're tiny people with egg-shaped heads.
These are more human than Jiminy.
No.
Face-wise, yes.
Okay, sure, face-wise, yes, but at least some of them have bug bodies.
That's true. Yeah, I don't like this aesthetic, to be perfectly honest.
The animation was fine.
Yeah, the animation actually was definitely a step up from their last film.
Yeah, even the rotoscoping humans and stuff, that looked fine.
Yeah, it looked significantly better than my.
I thought they did a really good job with the animation and the rotoscoping, and the backgrounds were quite nice. The movie starts off with this, it's not super impressive, but it's like this really nice shot of the city panning in the background. And
that was New York, right?
They never show any, key New York things to make it, for sure New York. But considering Fleischer Studios was based in New York, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, because, it's on the water, and... I'm assuming the Statue of Liberty exists at this point, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't know if the Twin Towers exist yet. Which
Probably
would be
not.
The iconic thing to see.
Well, yeah, and I don't know about the Empire State Building either.
Yeah. But either way, it's
Not
a big
sure when
city
all that was built.
on some big body of water. but that doesn't matter because they live
Probably
in
New
this
York.
tiny backyard. But the fence is broken down, so people just walk through all the fucking time, which is why they're in danger.
Yeah, people keep throwing their cigarette butts in this little...
Burning people's houses down and
The bug's house is down.
stepping on people's houses.
Kids playing, like, hockey with a can and such.
Somehow, no one dies.
Yeah. No casualties in this movie.
Not a one.
I was really expecting the mayor bug guy to die numerous times, especially when the movie was wrapping up. I'm like, okay, now he's dead. Okay, now he's dead. Okay, now he's... Oh, no, he's still alive.
Nope, no one can die.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I know that censorship had, like, in the 30s had, like, stopped a lot of what could and couldn't be shown on television, but it's like, killing a villain is usually, like, the one thing where it's like, yeah, now you can show him and
Yeah,
do something more graphic.
hit his car on the train tracks, make him explode. He falls off a cliff, something.
Yeah, I was expecting him to die and nothing, and it's still so weird to see Fleischer Studios go from
Betty Boop.
Betty Boop and like these really edgy talking about drugs and
Risque shit.
Yeah, and all this risque stuff.
To the most boring, family-friendly bullshit.
Right, like they just really got their...
They lost all their fangs and claws. Someone just neutered the shit out of Fleischer Bros.
Yeah, and...
Well, actually, Fleischer Bro.
Right, although I was a little confused, because according to my research, you know, like, they split ways after Gulliver's Travels, but when we started this up, it still said directed by Dave Fleischer. So I was like, huh.
Okay.
I wonder if they somehow both kind of worked on this, but they stayed away from each other. You know, that kind of thing.
Okay, that's very possible.
Yeah, I mean, and who knows, maybe there's some kind of contract, because, you know...
They had to, like, work together.
You could get away with this back then, is, you know, like, even if I'm not a part of this production at all, you can put my name on it.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's very possible. So, like we said, the animation in this is definitely a step up from what we saw in Gulliver's Travels. I would not say that any one specific character is unbearably obnoxious.
No, but it is all
just-
very, very bland.
It's all very bland, and everyone's just kind of
Generic, nice,
kind of annoying, but not like...
They're not even annoying. They're just generic, nice people, which, if you find that kind of thing annoying, it'll be annoying.
I do.
Yeah, I do too.
No, now
One
we
thing-
did say that they did... Okay.
Oh, what I was gonna say is the facial animation is still
Yeah.
not great. Like when they do most of their shots, they have like these kind of flat shots where like they have characters far enough away from the camera that you're seeing like their whole body, which isn't great staging. But it's what a lot of staging was back then because it was easier to like paint backgrounds for and such.
Yeah. Yeah, you did not see a lot of close-ups of characters in this.
But when you did, they aren't fun to look at.
No, it's like, oh, don't.
That's-
It does stop. I don't want to look at you.
That's when the cracks in the animation start to show.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
What I was going to say is, like, we did say that they got neutered, like, risque-wise, but that being said, this movie did still have a couple of blatantly racist things in it.
Mostly Native American things. Like, holy crap.
Shit. Yeah, there's one point where Hoppity is being electrocuted and he just goes into like this...
He gets
Indian-
electric lights that make like those stereotypical chief
feathered
headdresses.
And he's like
Doing
like an
dance.
Indian dance with a tomahawk and shit. It's like, wow, that's
And then
not
one of the
cool.
bad guy characters starts going like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Later, that same character that was making the hooting noises, while holding a pile of rice, goes ching chang chong rice, and his eyes get super racistly squinty.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not cool, yo. That's straight
Well, and
racist.
then they have one more that's aimed at Native Americans. Where
Again.
where it's like they all fall and like hit a wall really hard, and so they stack like a totem pole,
Yeah.
and their eyes get all big, and they're like
Like,
looking
their
from
dimensions
side to side,
get
and like the
changed.
music even goes like,
Indian again.
yeah, it's like yay,
Goody.
lovely.
I mean, that being said, the Fly character himself looks like he was probably supposed to be some black stereotype to begin with, but I don't think that they actually went that route, which is a good thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing.
He's just kind of a bumbling sidekick character, or like sidekick henchman villain character, more than anything.
And those two, okay, there's like the bumbling fly and
And the
the
mosquito.
They keep having this weird run-on joke where they get mad and then suddenly start like dancing or
I don't know what the fuck is these guys' deal.
it doesn't.
And I don't think they're gay if that's what you're going for.
No, I don't
I don't get 'em.
understand the joke. Like
They're
they'll be
the
like,
comic
"You
relief."
fool, you messed it up," and then like the fly will grab his nose and start playing it like a flute, and then the scene will cut, and I'm just like,
What was the point of that?
okay, all right.
I guess
that
we're moving
just
on.
happened.
Yeah, because most of the slapstick comic relief is denoted to these two guys and then the evil beetle millionaire guy.
I just feel like, okay, I just feel like Fleischer brothers either have a sense of humor that is just like totally off from our sense of humor and we just can't relate, or what I feel like is more likely is that they feel like they had to put jokes in their movies because that's what was profitable at the time. And so they threw jokes in when they really
Didn't need
didn't.
jokes.
Yeah, because all the jokes are just so aimless. You know, there's no purpose.
No
to
purpose,
The
and
jokes.
not necessarily a lot of bite to most of them either.
Right, like, okay. I'm gonna go back and talk about Snow White a little bit here. Jokes where it's something like the scene where Snow White is kissing all the dwarves goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of jokes in that scene. You know, you've got the joke where Dopey keeps coming around to get more kisses, and he keeps trying to, like, give her an actual kiss. But the purpose of that joke being in there is to also build up the fact that Grumpy is sticking behind and, like, fixing his hat and making sure he looks nice before he comes up. So those are like
But he also waits until everyone else is gone.
right, so
that they
nobody
can't
else
see
hears
it.
him.
Yeah.
Right. So those are two jokes that are playing off each other and serve the purpose of the story and character development. And then you have Grumpy going up to Snow White, telling her to be careful and make sure not to let anybody in the house. She gives him a kiss, he resists, those are all jokes. He goes, and then, like, he stomps off and he's like, oh, she's so cute. And then he falls in the water. And it's like,
And then runs
also
into
a
the
joke,
tree.
and runs into a tree. And, you know, and all of those are jokes that serve a purpose to show off the characters, to give Grumpy comeuppance for being who he is. You know, like,
It just shows how his character has grown throughout the movie.
so when I say that jokes are aimless, I mean they just don't have this flow to them, like scenes like that in Snow White. Because in this movie, jokes are,
And then this happened.
And then this happened.
And then this happened.
And then we can ignore it. And then somebody got hurt. And then...
Oh, look, they all get electrocuted again.
Yeah. Moving on. It's just like... Okay. And, you know, of course sometimes people just write jokes like that and it works. But when that is your only kind of joke, it just feels so flat. And there's just, like, nothing connecting you to the story anymore.
Speaking of story, they still had a lot of issues with pacing in this movie.
It's a lot better.
It's a lot better, significantly better.
Still slow
There's not
as
a
heck.
6 to 7 minute scene of them tying up anyone in this movie.
Right?
But there's still just a lot of padding and like scenes just kind of go on for a really long time. And then there's points where the plot has mostly been figured out, and then the movie makers are like, well, how do we keep moving the plot forward so characters go off to do some contrived thing just to get the plot moving again? Because it's like, thing comes up, it becomes solved.
We run out of ideas, so this happens.
Yeah, I guess the characters go do this now.
Right.
There's no overarching flow that makes this movie work.
Yeah, like, plot points don't really connect to each other, as in, like they don't lead from one situation to another. It's like, one plot ends, and then we're like, okay, what do we do now? I guess we move on to this plot. But, like, it's all serving one long narrative, which really makes it feel disjointed.
Yeah, because
Like,
everything is ultimately for this evil guy to get the girl and get rid of Hoppity, and the townsfolk are all trying to find a better place to live, but no one scene directly leads to the next one. They're all just kind of segmented and separate.
Yeah, it's like, you have the section where Hoppity figures everybody should go to the garden to live.
And then they get washed out.
And then they get washed out.
And then we have another scene with the bad guy who's trying to get the girl again.
And it just keeps doing it's almost episodic like Pinocchio was,
But badly.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
And there was like a point where we were really close to the end of the movie, and you turned to me and you're like, I actually have no idea how this is going to wrap up.
Yeah, it's honestly like, okay, they've gotten to the point where they have been fucked over so badly that there is no possible conceivable way that they're going to be able to rectify this situation. Even though they've set it up, there is no goddamn way they can use that out anymore because they destroyed it.
Right. And in the back of my head, I was like, I feel like I know how this is going to end. But even I was like, when they finally revealed...
That would be too stupid.
I'm like, that would be too stupid. And then they revealed how it was going to end, and I'm like, well, that's even stupider than what I thought was going to happen.
This ending is even more stupid than the stupid plot they set up to begin with.
I mean, at least they have, like, a flow with that being the song that the guy is playing. So it's, like, kind of tied in.
But that doesn't come into the movie until, like, halfway through. Like, the whole plot with the humans and their Dick Dickens songwriting...
Dick
Dickens' songwriting career does not come into the movie until halfway through, which is how they get saved in the end. And, of course, the ever-important U.S. Postal Service! I'm sorry, the Postal Service is garbage. It might have been something to look up to back then, but it isn't anymore, so it's more of a joke now than anything.
Okay, yeah, so essentially, to explain this for people who haven't seen this movie, because, you know, most of you probably haven't, so there's this whole, like, convoluted B story about this...
B-plot in a movie about bugs? Tennille, don't do this to me!
Anyway, there's these humans that live near where the bugs live.
The bugs are actually living on their property because it's this big old mansion, castle-y house in the middle of the city, but they can't make the payments on it, so he's trying to write a song, and they're waiting for the studio to give them the check. So that
saying that they bought the rights to the song.
And so they can...
And they're going to publish it.
You know, pay off the house and stay there.
Right. And luckily, while Hoppity is there eavesdropping on him, they're like, wow, if we get that money, we'll be able to fix the fence so people stop walking through that area. So that would fix the Bugville's problem. So Hoppity, like, goes back to town, and he's like... They're the humans, they're just waiting on something called a check, and once they get that, they're going to fix the fence, and that's going to fix our problems. And the evil beetle guy who wants to marry the sexy bumblebee daughter is like, oh, I can be evil and use this to my advantage.
So he steals the check letter and hides it.
Right, and hides it. So... Then, later we get a scene and everyone's like, Hoppity, when are they gonna fix the fence? You told us they were gonna fix the fence! And, like, days go by and nothing happens. And Hoppity jumps back up to listen to the humans and they're like, oh, we got a letter. It's a foreclosure. We have to leave.
And then they get kicked out. And the house gets torn down. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, okay, now everyone's screwed because now a skyscraper's being built here. And the Beatles like, shit!
That's gonna ruin my property too! And then...
I did not think this through!
I didn't think this through! And then... Later, like, the skyscraper's being built, and...
Man, they built this thing really fast.
Really, really fast. And then... So the skyscraper's being built, and Hoppity...
Has found the check.
Has found the check, and the two... couple people come back and they're like, oh, Dick, I know it's silly to come back and look at this place, but I just wanted to see what it looks like now.
If only we'd gotten that check.
If only we'd gotten that check.
We could build a house on the top of the skyscraper, and we'll have a big old garden, and it'll be great and beautiful.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and it's right before these two chuckle fucks come back in that we're like, how are they gonna wrap this up? And then these two come in and they start talking about how they want to build their house. If only they got that check, they could build their house on top of the skyscraper.
Spoilers! They get the check back.
And they build their house on top of the skyscraper.
And the bugs, who climb this skyscraper the entire time it's being built, finally get to the top, but it takes them like forever because by the time they get up there, the couple has gotten their check, they have made more music, sold more music, got enough money to build their house on top of this skyscraper so that by the time the bugs get to the top, it's already there and waiting for them. Mm-hmm. And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah. It's like a Moses story.
Kind of is.
Just like in the very last 10 minutes, like them moving to the promised land.
Because we're going to the promised land.
Yeah. Oh.
This movie was an adventure.
Yeah. Takes a lot of leaps in logic.
Yeah.
But
lots of them.
I mean, you know, like we said, I definitely think this is better than Gulliver's Travels, which honestly surprised me. I was not expecting this movie to be as decent as it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Considering it has 3 names.
There's a big problem with having a movie have multiple names. It's really confusing to the consumer base.
Right.
As you might expect. So, Tennille, I have a couple of questions for you. I don't know if you'll be able to answer them, but I'm curious.
Uh-huh.
How well was this movie received?
I don't know, actually. It was like... All I can really tell you is that this was the last film that came out. Well, okay. This movie came out in December.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is going to sound terrible, but can you remind me of the date of Pearl Harbor?
It's either the 7th or the 9th. For the record, I always get this number confused because my dad played a joke on my oldest sister Christy, because her birthday is either on the 7th or the 9th.
And Pearl Harbor is the other.
And Pearl Harbor is the other, and so he would always pretend to get them mixed up. And it, like, jokingly would make her mad.
But now it's seriously just messed you up and you have no idea.
But now
which
it's
one
messed
is
me
which.
up, so I can't remember which is which.
Okay, but this movie came out just before that.
Yes.
Like, right at the very beginning of December.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So, I don't know if necessarily, like, critic reception and all that, no one really remembers this movie because people were worrying about other stuff.
More important shit going down, so people kind of stopped going to the theaters, and I'm sure that meant this movie didn't do very well.
Probably not, no.
Hooray.
Hooray.
And so that's the last Fleischer Bros movie that we are going to see on Animation Pilgrimage, correct?
I think so, unless one sneaks up on us in a few decades, but I highly doubt it.
Well, Fleischer Bros as closing...
Well, we will be watching some Fleischer Bros cartoons.
Okay, yeah, so they still have some cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But as your movie career was incredibly short, and they weren't terribly great, but good on you for trying, I guess.
Yeah.
Someone had to.
You made your mark.
You made your mark on history. I guess.
I guess. Anything else you want to add?
Not really. I don't know if I have a whole lot more to say. I mean, other than the fact that this was the last movie that was released before the U.S.
Pearl Harbor.
Before Pearl Harbor. So after this, America gets involved in the war.
Mm-hmm.
So this deeply affects what
animation
and movies in general, what happens after this.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to get a whole lot of lighthearted or well thought out movies.
We're going to get a lot of lighthearted movies. But...
Very lighthearted movies here for a while.
Uh-huh.
That being said, immediately after this one, next time, we're watching Bambi.
Bambi.
So,
yes.
you know, this movie was almost done by the time this happened, so they're like, well, we can't not release it.
Yeah.
But after that, movies will change.
Yeah. So we've got one more, actual movie before we start getting into all the package films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
All right, well, join us here back next time for Bambi.
Bambi.
There are bumps in the road.
And with tilt, a darn heavy road.
But boy, oh boy, we've got fun, we've got freedom, we've got joy.
We got fun, we got freedom, we got joy. For him.